Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Heartslayers. You're here with the Heartslayers, Derrick Acosta and
Meg Turner.
Today, we're going to be taking calls, answering emails, sorting through all of your relationship drama. If you have a problem with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your dog, we're going to be solving dog problems.
Finally.
Little dogs, medium-sized dogs, any
Large
dog
dogs.
problem you have, we're going to send it to the pound or potty train them. Whatever it is. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. This introduction is going a little bit long.
It's okay.
Let's get started. All right, everybody. We are here on the phone with an anonymous caller. Anonymous caller, you are talking to Meg and Derrick, the Heartslayers. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? So, I'm taking summer classes. I'm in college. You know, summer classes are kind of boring. Nothing really happens in summer classes. They're kind of more community-centric. So, I don't really expect to ever meet anyone in summer classes. But this summer, I met a girl. I met someone, and so we kind of started hanging out in the class. I kind of connected with her. Just kind of had a real kind of instant connection. We started studying together, and I don't know. I didn't really think much of it. I really didn't think about it, that anything was going to come from it. And then, so I finished the class. We kind of stopped talking after that, and that's kind of what happens usually after class. I just kind of have a hard time sometimes, like keeping those, out of class, relationships going or friendships going. And I ran into her the other day, and we started talking. And she said, "Oh, you want to go out? And you want to go get a drink sometime?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I don't know why I haven't really asked you." And so I texted her. We made a plan, and I went out with her. And man, that was the best date I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Nice.
Best date.
Cool.
Okay, so that's all the good stuff, right?
Right.
So here's my problem though. So I'm 20, and she's 30.
Okay.
So that's my problem right now, and I just don't see. I don't know if it's gonna work, and I think that's too big of an age gap. I think It took me a while to even tell her that. I just felt really awkward telling her that, and I don't know. Do you think 10 years is too much?
What was her reaction to you telling her?
She was pretty nonchalant about it. She took it a lot better than I thought she would. I thought she'd be kind of weird about it. I felt like I was more weird about it than she was.
You're only 20 years old?
Yeah.
But you guys went out for drinks?
Well, no, okay. I didn't drink. She was like, "Oh, why aren't you drinking?" I was like, "Well, I gotta tell you something." And then I told her that I was only 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how it came about, was the fact that I was just like, "I'm just gonna get a water." And she's like, "Oh, you don't drink?"
Did you know that she was that much older than you when you started hanging out?
I suspected she was older than me, just based on the kind of thing she was talking about, but I didn't know she was 30.
How old did you think she was?
About like 24, 25 maybe.
24, 25. And if she was 24, 25, would that be a significant age gap for you?
I guess it's really not the age that always matters. It's just sometimes kind of like the situation in your life you're kind of in, I just feel like we're in two different parts of our lives right now. She's kind of I'm kind of like a college student, just kind of moving out on my own and just kind of figuring out life, whereas she's someone who just has kind of come back to college to take some classes, and she seems like her life's kind of all figured out, and she's got a lot of stuff going for her.
Okay.
Does that kind of make any sense?
Yeah.
What does she got going for her?
She's got a small business.
Okay.
And she's really happy with it, and I feel like we're just in two very different parts of our lives right now.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm just not at the same maturity level as her, in life.
Well, they say that women mature faster than guys do, so maturity-wise, you could still be,
16.
17, 18. She could be as mature as a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe the gap is even bigger than you think.
The mental gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my opinion, it all comes down to your brain age, how old you feel. As they say, age is just a number. Some people, when they get older, they don't like it. And they feel like, I still feel like I'm 24, 25.
Yeah.
I hate that I'm older. I hate that I'm 30 because I feel like mentally I'm not far beyond, these people in my class. That may be her situation.
Yeah.
And honestly, she's probably wondering about the age gap too. Like, oh, this guy's only 20. Like, what am I doing? I'm 30.
I know.
Like,
That's what I'm thinking. I know.
so I think it's more like a situation, like if you're cool with it and if it doesn't bother you, then it really shouldn't be an issue. But I think if you fixate on it and if it really worries you and upsets you, it will manifest into a bigger issue over time. But it's all like a mental thing, really. I feel like 10 years is... It is an age gap for like a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
I think officially... Look, listen.
Okay.
I watched the TV show Age Gap Love.
Yeah.
And on that show, they don't
like 50 years.
They don't consider it an age gap unless it's at least 10 years in difference. But most of the people on that show have 20, 30, 35 year age gap difference. It's
like a parent gap.
It would be like a 20-year-old dating a 55-year-old. That's what they... I mean, this is a TV show, so they go for like those extreme examples. But 10 years is on the smaller side of the age gap spectrum. Is she cool? Is she relatable? Did you have a good time? Do you guys have stuff in common? Do you like similar things? Did you have fun together?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This was the best date I've ever had. I mean, really, I've never connected with someone the way I had, and that's why I feel like I want to make it work, but I just don't see if it. I don't know if it can or not. That's just my that's my big hang up right now.
All right. Well, listen. This is my advice to you.
Okay.
You're only 20 years old. I remember being 20 years old. This girl, she remembers being 20 years old. The thing that comes with age and maturity, mentally, you don't change very much. You're still the same person. But your expectations and your ability to jump into conclusions and put the cart before the horse, that all calms way down.
Oh, yeah.
So you may be thinking I really like this girl. I really like her. I want to make this work. I want to have a relationship. She could be the one. And she might just be thinking...
I don't know about thinking that far. I don't know.
She might just be thinking, hey, this guy's cool. We went out. Maybe I'll see him again next week. Maybe I won't. That's all right. Life will go on either way. NBD.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sure that's probably what she's thinking. I kind of get that vibe from her.
Yeah, because I was also going to say, you keep saying making it work, but I would just take it day by day, realistically, because you don't even know if she really wants to date you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should make it NBD, no big deal as well. Hey, she's cool.
Yeah.
I had a really good connection with her. I've never connected with somebody like that. But you know what? Maybe she's too old. Who knows? We're just going to hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe, there'll be some smooching, a little bit of on the surface romance, but ultimately you guys will just become good friends. Who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, because the more you hang out, the more you'll see whether or not it's actually a real connection and whether you can, quote unquote, make it work.
Yeah. Just try not to overthink it. Because your brain will fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
You'll just be sitting around thinking about stuff, and your brain will start concocting all these weird situations that don't actually exist, and you'll get all this anxiety, well, what about this? What about that? What if she thinks this? When really, you're just in your head making all this stuff up, and she's probably just yeah, that guy's cool. Maybe I'll call him on Thursday. Maybe not.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's as far as it goes.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing me down a peg. I needed that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So to sum it all up, 10 years is only a big deal if you make it a big deal. But if she's cool and she seems like a 24-year-old to you, this is the last thing I'll say, anonymous caller. When I was 18, I was younger than you at the time. I was a freshman in college, and I had a friend who was older than me. She was 19.
Yeah.
And she had a friend that she met in college. We were in community college. I can't remember her name. I want to say her name was something oh my God, it was Elsa or something.
Ooh.
She wasn't the Frozen girl, but we'll say her name was Elsa. And she brought this girl over to the apartment I was living in at the time. And this was like the most beautiful girl I had ever seen in my life. I had like an instant crush on her. And my friend was like, yeah, she's older than us. You're 18, I'm 19. She's 24. And in my mind, I was like, oh shit, this chick's like a senior in college. So intimidating. But I tried to play it cool. I was like, I'm gonna play it cool. I'm gonna act like I'm a 24-year-old. Blah, blah. And I was like trying to talk to her about stuff. Blah blah blah. Like having a good time. Developed a little bit of a crush on her. And then like I didn't see her for a while. And a few weeks later, my friend came back and she's like, hey, I have something to tell you about Elsa. And I was like, okay, what is it? She's like, remember when I said she was 24? I was like, yeah. She's like, she's actually 34.
Holy shit.
And it blew my mind. I was like, what?
Why is she hanging out with 18-year-olds?
I don't know. But she was like, yeah, she apparently has had this whole other life. Like she lived in France for a while.
Oh my
and
God.
now she's back and she's going to school. And, you know, I was absolutely, without a doubt, convinced that she was 24. And then when I found out she was 34, it, like, kind of wigged me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I realized that, you know, if nobody had told me that, I would have completely operated under the assumption that she was 24.
Yeah.
I would never have known. And that to me was when I really learned that, you know, age really is just a number.
It's true.
Like, if I can't tell hanging out with you that you're not 24, like, you know, what difference does it make? Who cares? Yeah. So that's my story about age gaps. I hope that sheds some light on your situation, anonymous caller.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we appreciate the call and hope it all works out.
Okay, thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, everybody. We are on the phone here with Rob. Rob, you're talking to Meg and Derrick, the Heartslayers. What's up?
Hey, so I just wanted to call in today to basically talk about a situation that I'm in right now with an ex of mine. Basically, we dated for about 4 months last year, and she broke up with me, and it was amicable. We stayed friends. But now we're in kind of a little bit of I guess, an unusual, or maybe it's a more typical situation than I probably think it is with exes. Basically, for the past, I guess, 6 months now, we've been on and off hooking up. And we're not in a relationship, though. We're just kind of in a friends with benefits situation. I guess we're both still like admitting that we both like each other and we like talking with each other. And, you know, I've told her that I still am very much attracted to her. And she seems like, from what she said to me and how she's acted around me, that she's attracted to me, but she just doesn't want to be in a relationship right now. And we both kind of accepted that. But I guess I'm just kind of, I don't know. I've never dealt with a friends with benefits, quote unquote, situation before. And I don't know how I feel about it. It feels kind of weird to me that we're kind of in this relationship purgatory. I don't know. And I just want to know if either of you have dealt with a situation like that. And do you think it's worth, if we're both comfortable with it, do you think it's worth continuing this? Or do you think it's worth just drawing a line in the sand at some point and just be like, hey, we need to figure out, like, what are we right now?
Okay. So you dated this girl last year. You guys dated for 4 months. You broke up. And then for the past 6 months, you've been hooking up. Was there a time in between breaking up and hooking up where you guys weren't communicating with each other?
Yeah. I mean, we still talked. We just didn't talk as much. And then around, like, I guess probably December, January, we started talking more and we hooked up again. And it was nice, but we both were like, well, she was really like, well, I don't know. I felt like she didn't want to be in a relationship, she said to me. And I was totally cool with that.
Did she give a reason why she didn't want to be in a relationship?
Yeah. I mean, basically she just said the way her work situation is, right now, she's just really busy at work. And also, she said to me, honestly, just like, well, we dated for 4 months and I felt like if there was going to be a connection there in terms of a relationship, I would have known it by then, you know. So, which I get it. I mean, I felt something. I felt like we had something, but she didn't feel that way, and that's totally fine. But then, now we're in this kind of situation where, we're seeing each other and we're hanging out, and then almost every time that we hang out, we end up hooking up. So,
How often do you guys
Yeah.
see each other?
maybe like twice a month.
Okay.
All right.
So twice a
And-
month
but-
for the past 6 months, basically.
Yeah, and it's not like we see each other. It's not like, sometimes like we will hang out and we'll just hang out and we won't hook up. And then sometimes we'll hang out and we'll hook up. And, we talk a good amount still, not like every day, but maybe like once or twice a week, with, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And then with some gaps in between, like if she wants to go on like work trips and stuff. So it's not like we've never had like a big drop off of more than like a month.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So this truly is like a friends with benefits type of situation. You're not seeing each other every single day. You're not obsessed with each other, but
No.
you're maintaining a good friendship, talking a couple times a week, hanging out a couple times a month, a little bit of hooking up here and there.
Are you
Yeah.
seeing or talking to anybody else aside from her?
See, here's the weird thing is that there was a gap where we weren't hooking up. We hooked up for the first time in like late December, early January.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, this was fun, but I don't want to be in a relationship still. And I was like, cool. I dated someone for about 3 months. Then, in that time, we were still talking. I was still talking with this other girl, but we weren't hooking up. We were just talking as friends. I broke up with, this girl that I was dating for the past 3 months. And then about a month later, we were still talking again, and we hooked up again. And now the talking, and then, we're still talking, still hooking up. So it's like, I don't know if the universe is like telling me something, like, or if I'm just too, I don't know. I don't want to breed a toxic relationship. That's what I'm worried about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Building a relationship that's like where we don't know who we are, and it's like we don't know what ultimately we're gonna be as just friends. Is it
Yeah.
gonna evolve to something more, or are we gonna stay like this and eventually get sick of each other and move on?
Right.
So
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right. I don't think the universe is trying to tell you anything. I think
Yeah.
this girl is trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
yeah,
That she doesn't want to be in a relationship.
Right.
But she likes
Yeah.
hooking up with you.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't think it needs to be more complicated than what it's been presented as. I think just listening to your story, it sounds like she might be the type of person who enjoys the chase. Like, if you make yourself too available, she pulls back because it's like, well, I don't want to like date you or be in an official relationship. But if it's kind of like a fun thing, I don't know when I'm going to see Rob again. Ooh, Rob called me. Maybe I am interested in hooking up
Yeah.
tonight. If it's like a spur of the moment thing, maybe that's a little bit more exciting to her and she's down to do it. Sounds like she, kind of wants to have fun and toy with you a little bit, but not in a mean or malicious way. It just seems like it just
her
sounds like she
thing.
enjoys the chase
Yeah.
and doesn't really want to settle down.
Okay.
And, if that's something where, if you're looking to settle down, if you want a long-term committed relationship, maybe this girl isn't the right one to be pursuing.
Right.
But
'Cause-
Well,
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
just going to say, if you're not dating anybody and, you just like the company and enjoy spending time with her and enjoy hooking up with her, but you're not expecting for this to turn into a relationship necessarily, maybe this isn't such a bad thing. And maybe even if you guys do this for long enough and you really, because the more time you spend with somebody, it's inevitable that you'll develop feelings for them.
Yeah.
It's hard to like
Yeah.
hook up with somebody and see them all the time and talk to them and connect with them and share things about your life and not start to develop a little, little bit of
Feelings,
emotion and some
attachment,
feelings
yeah.
and attachment. Yeah, exactly. So if you play her game and walk this tightrope and do the, oh yeah, we're just friends, it's casual, I don't mind. You might find, one day down the road, you meet a new girl, and then this girl's like, hold on a second. Wait, I realize I actually have feelings for you.
Yeah, but what I was going to say was my biggest fear for Rob is that maybe you're holding on to a little bit of your past relationship with her
Yeah.
because like you're still getting like hooking up with her, you're still getting the friendship aspect from her, but without the actual relationship, but it might sometimes feel like a relationship because you're still hooking up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my I guess my concern is that I am having fun. I'm not dating anyone right now. And I am having a good time. I like talking with her.
Yeah.
I like hanging out with her. She's a really great like woman, like genuinely. And I think we have a lot of common interests. I think it's just she just doesn't want to be in a relationship, and that's fine. I totally respect that, I guess.
But
I am kind of looking for, ultimately, I am still looking for someone to be in a relationship.
are you trying to steer this into a relationship? Are you trying to lure her back to you?
See, that's the thing, is that I feel like even though I'm saying, like, this is kind of like, I don't know, does it sound messed up to like say that, like, even though my brain says, like, Rob, like, you're fine, you're not trying to steer this into a relationship, my heart is like, I want this to be a relationship again, is
Yeah.
that, and it's just like, that's what I'm afraid of, is that I'm gonna
I think that's
force
normal.
this into something that
That's
it
like the
possibly shouldn't be,
super
you know?
downside of friends with benefits. Because like you
One
Yeah,
said,
person
exactly.
falls in love.
yeah, one person gets super attached while the other is like, I told you I only wanted to be friends that hook up.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and then that's kind of when you have to pull back because you're wanting something more of this other person who doesn't want that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Rob, romance, there's a light side and a dark side. The highs are high
Yes.
and the lows are low.
Uh-huh.
And at any moment, the switch could flip and you go from being super stoked on somebody to suddenly this relationship is driving you crazy
Yeah.
and being miserable, making you miserable.
Yeah.
And it happens real fast, and it's mostly like a mental thing. And so I think, what I'm getting at here is you should try to enjoy the positives of this relationship that you have with this person and focus on this. All right. Be really proud of yourself. You're such a cool dude. You're such an attractive dude. She can't fully let you go, man. She loves spending time with you and seeing you and hooking up with you. But for whatever reason, she doesn't want to be in a relationship. That's cool.
It happens.
That's no criticism on you as a person. As I have said on this show many times, as Tina Turner wrote about in a song, what's love got to do with it? Sometimes two people are totally in love with each other and they're, they feed off each other, but they just can't make a relationship work for whatever external reasons. It takes more than just really liking somebody to make a
Yeah.
relationship work. And that may be the situation you're in right now. Maybe a relationship is just not possible right now. So just think to yourself, it's cool. We have our thing going on. It makes me happy. Like, I like seeing you and spending time with you. But truly, just don't expect a relationship to happen.
Yeah, like if it ever is at any point making you unhappy, that's when you pull the ripcord and back away.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
don't blame yourself
No.
for the relationship not happening. Don't sit around thinking, what can I do to make her like me more? What can I change about myself to make myself irresistible so that she has to be in a relationship with me? Because then you're going to start picking yourself apart and criticizing yourself and feeling terrible. Just push those thoughts away. Just accept, like, we're not in a relationship. That's not on the table, but I'm still a fucking handsome, awesome catch of a dude.
Yeah.
And, so I got ladies out there that want Rob.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because now you can enjoy the single life and still kind of enjoy, like, you can have best of both worlds if you approach it mentally from the right perspective.
Yeah, you just have to kind of remind yourself to keep it as casual as possible.
Yeah.
Don't read too much into things.
Being single is great because you can do whatever you want. There's no attachments. You can play video games for as much as you want. There's no like expectation to.
You don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah, you're completely in charge of your own destiny. You could go on vacation to Europe. You don't have to buy 2 tickets. You just eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
Make yourself happy. You know, you are your own boss when you're single. Being in a relationship is cool because you have somebody you could talk to, you could be romantic with. You can do best of both worlds type situation how you are now. But don't get sucked into worst of both worlds, which is like, late at night, I am alone and nobody cares about me. She toys with my emotions. She's using me.
Yeah.
You know, you can look at it. You could look at it from either way, and either one will be true, just depending on the perspective you have and the decision you make in your view of the situation. So I just say look at the lighter side. You know, look at it in a positive light.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think I've definitely been trying to. I think I've definitely been enjoying like seeing her. I guess I just don't want to. I just don't want to push her away either. Like, you know, I still want, because I still genuinely just like respect her as a human being.
Well, remember this.
So
it's more attractive to be the fun-loving, super positive, I don't care what's going on. Make out with me. Don't call me. It's all good. That's the attractive Rob. Yeah. What's going to be, what's unattractive is, so we need to have a talk because I've been feeling very emotional lately and I just need to know where we stand.
What are we?
That's going to make her run for the hills. Yeah. So.
For sure.
Yeah. So just embrace that attractive, flippant, casual persona and she'll probably just become even more attracted to you. And who knows? Maybe, you know, maybe
she'll be ready someday.
Yeah, maybe she'll finally come around. Maybe she's, you know, it's weird with relationships. Sometimes it's when you stop expecting the relationship, it finally manifests. And it's like all this time I was waiting for the relationship. And the moment I stopped giving a shit, suddenly now you want to be with me. Yeah. That's how it works.
That's always how it works.
Yeah.
Especially in like a friends with benefits situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I think this is all really good advice. And I think you're right, Derrick and Meg. I think I just been maybe getting inside my own head a little bit too much and not just going with the flow. Because I think at first I was doing that. And then as it kind of went on and on, I was like, I started, you know, thinking about, like you said, Derrick, I wanted to have that, you know, I wanted to have a talk. I wanted to sit down with her and talk with her. But it's like, you're right. It's not, you just got to go with it and just, like you said, be flippant, be cool, and just, you know, see what happens either way, and don't expect anything. Don't have any expectations.
Yeah.
Yep.
She may test you, you know, she'll like ignore you for 2 or 3 weeks. Don't get all emotional and be like, why aren't we talking?
Yeah.
Expect the test. I'm calling it. The test is coming. She's going to see if you're really attached or not. Start preparing mentally for how you're going to play it cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
But yeah, thank you both for taking my call and giving me, honestly, this really great advice. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, we appreciate the call, Rob, and hope it all works out for you.
All right. Thank you both. Have a good night.
See ya. All right, everybody. We are here on the phone with Pickle. Pickle, you were talking to Meg and Derrick, the Heartslayers. What's up?
So this is a fairly fresh wound, I guess. But I was talking to someone I met from OkCupid, and we talked every day, like multiple times on the phone, play video games, watch movies, and everything was great. So we went to see one of our favorite stand-up comedians, who's Tom Segura. The date was awesome. We had a lot of chemistry, a lot in common, all that. Like, we actually hung out for 2 days. I hung out at his, at his house. And about a week after or two, I noticed, him kind of pushing me away a little bit. So I tried to be optimistic, not think anything of it. And I got a text after, a month of talking on the phone, practically all day, that he had a lot of family things going on. His dad was sick, all that. He had family issues, and that he couldn't handle a relationship, and he couldn't be there for me and support me, which is one phrase that stuck with me, because we had kind of talked about, dealing with depression and whatnot, but I kept it pretty minimal in that department. So my main question is, this could be helpful to a lot of other people, but how do you bring up that you struggle with, depression or bipolar? Like, would you suggest, jumping straight out of the gate and saying, hey, my name is Pickle, I'm depressed, but, I'd like to get to know you? Or do you kind of wait until, you're established, monogamous with that person? Have either of you experienced that? If not, how would you suggest handling that topic with dating?
Okay, so met a guy on OkCupid. Things were going good. And then he gave you the slip a little bit. When you guys went out and spent those 2 days together, is that when you talked about being depressed? And was this like that? All right, hold on. Let me back up. When you went out and had that 2-day hangout sesh, was that kind of like one super long, epic first date, essentially?
Oh, yeah. And, me, I thought, man, this is fucking awesome, and to me, I was like, all right, what are you up to,
But you guys
what are
spent,
you
like-
trying? You're great. What are you trying to do? What plan do you have? But yeah, it was. I stayed over his house. Like, even his dog loved me, and I loved his dog. I'm usually picky with, people's animals, but it
Usually hate
seemed
dogs.
so great,
But you said you guys spent about a month talking, like over the phone, before meeting
Well,
for the first
it was,
time?
Yeah, it was, not talking literally all day on the phone, but we were talking multiple times on the phone for at least, 30 minutes, an hour. And Derrick did ask, did the mental, did I bring depression up? Because we had deep conversations and we were so open with each other. We had, the conversation had naturally progressed into that topic, and we both opened up about our struggles with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really dwell on it much after that, because we had so much to talk about. We talked about movies, video games. I told him, about Mega 64 and how much I love it, how I've been a lurker of Heartslayers since day one, and I'm finally calling in now.
Nice.
So I didn't feel the need to dwell on, feeling depressed,
Okay.
or talk about that as a conversational piece after we connected on that. So, I don't know if it really, I think it really is his family issues, but, you could get to where you think, well, it is me and it's not them, they're telling me otherwise. So,
Does he also struggle with depression?
yeah, that and a lot of anxiety from his family situation.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, I would probably, chalk it up to that.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Right.
Look, I've, had, I think everybody's had their bouts with depression.
Yeah.
I've had my
Yeah.
struggles with it in the past. And it's easy when things go wrong to say, like, well,
It's
I
me.
fucked that up.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I did it because
Yeah.
that's what I do. I fuck things up. When really, it's probably, I would say, when you start dating a new girl, you get all this anxiety of like, well, am I going to maintain this now? Like, do I feel obligated to message them? Like now we've taken it a step further. Am I cool with that? You start doing all this self-analysis. It freaks you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Pile on family issues on top of that. He could have just had a full collapse. Like, I really can't handle this right now.
Yeah.
Like a new relationship and going through all this family stuff is too much to handle, and I can't get rid of this family stuff, so I have to get rid of this new relationship.
Yeah. I think in terms of bringing it up, what you described was great, because personally, I am clinically depressed and anxious. So
Yes.
so there's that. And when I first brought it up, when I first brought it up with my boyfriend, it wasn't like, hey, just so you know, by the way, it kind of just, we were having a conversation and it kind of was a topic of conversation. So I let him know and he was like, all right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. And I remember the first time where I was having a super depressed day, he was fine with it. He got it. And
He was into it.
Yeah, it's his kink.
He was like,
I'm into
finally.
sad women.
Yeah.
Finally.
Hey, that's a thing.
Oh, Jesus.
It is a thing.
But I think it's better to kind of, I wouldn't say just lead with that because that's kind of weird. But I would say not
First
to,
minute.
I wouldn't hide it because they're going to find out eventually if you do start a relationship.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's in anything, if you have any sort of issue, regardless of what it is, even if you're a kleptomaniac, like you steal stuff, you compulsively steal things, I always think it's best to be open and honest and a little bit shameless about it. As early on, you don't need to lead with it, but as you're getting to know somebody and you're getting comfortable with them, you'd be like, just want to let you know, I'm probably going to steal all your stuff when I come over to your house. They'll be like, what? And you'd be like, yep, deal with it.
So we might as well be together now.
Yeah, because you don't want to hide it and make them feel like you were dishonest.
Exactly. And if you're having like a really down day, they might blame themselves for it when realistically it's like, oh, sorry, it's just a chemical imbalance in my brain, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the way that you addressed it with him was spot on.
Yeah. I just wanted to address it because, I'm doing the whole therapy thing. So I've come to a place of, forgiveness where I've seen his side of it and I understand now and I don't feel animosity. So it's fairly fresh. And the reason I wanted to ask is because I know how difficult online dating is. It's a minefield. It's become a toxic cultural thing. And I wanted to be able to ask that way if anybody else was listening who, struggles with any kind of mental illness could.
How long ago did all this go down?
As far as the, I gotta break it to you kind of message.
Well, when he told you, like, I can't really support you right now, when did this all happen? You keep saying it's fresh, so are we talking like
a couple weeks ago.
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
2, yeah.
Okay.
Not that long.
Well,
but I've come to a peace with it pretty quickly, surprisingly, with, therapy. So
have you had
but I know a lot of people would be in that same situation, so.
Have you had any contact with him since?
No, I haven't. I've kind of, left the door open, but not made any effort to contact him because, like I said, I know he's going through a lot, so I'm not adding any pressure to him,
What I was going to say is the heart is a fickle beast.
Yeah.
And maybe, all of these new experiences were putting too much pressure on this guy and he couldn't take it. But if you could, if you're interested in still pursuing him, just roll this whole relationship back to pre-first date era, I maybe just send him a message, be like, hey, I know you're going through stuff, but I've been thinking about you lately and I hope everything's okay. Like, I'm not upset about what you told me, but I miss having our phone calls if you ever want to chat or anything.
Yeah.
I'm here. And maybe he'll be like, oh, that's really supportive. And, maybe that could be something he needs to hear to feel comfortable about getting close to you again.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just a thought.
Yeah.
You don't have to go that route.
Good. That is good advice. If I do go that route, I'll probably wait a little bit, because I've noticed after, a week after he sent me that message, he went completely dark on social media, like not posting anything when he was posting his art to Instagram multiple times a day, all of that. So I was like, if I do contact him, I'll give him time.
Yeah. Also, other end of the spectrum, this is the whole point of dating is you meet somebody, you spend a little bit of time with them, and then you decide, do I want to pursue this or do I not want to pursue this? So maybe it's just time to move on to the next guy.
Let it go.
Try dating somebody else. Find somebody who's even better, more suited for you, Pickle, who is ready for the romance.
Right.
And you won't even be thinking about this guy anymore.
Yeah. All righty. Well, that sounds good.
Well, hope it all works out. Feel free to call us back with any updates or any, new adventures in the dating scene. We always love to hear about people's dating lives. That's what this show's all about.
It is.
Right.
We really appreciate the call,
Alrighty.
Pickle. Good luck.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me a second shot. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah. Anytime.
Okay. All righty. See you guys.
Bye. All right, everybody, we're going to do an email now. If you have a question for us, or if you can't call us on Discord, feel free to email us at heartslayers@mega64.com. Today's email comes from somebody who goes by the letter D, and it says, "Hey, Megan and Derrick."
That's not my name.
I'm sorry, is your name Megan?
No.
It's Meg.
It's Meg.
So everybody knows. It's short for Megora.
Yeah.
She's named after Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's true.
All right. Take two. Hi, Meg and Derrick. My name is Dee. Recently, my fiance and I split up. At first, it was mutual. Then the next day, I felt my heart break. Not sure why it took a day. We had been dating for a year, and I had a gut feeling she was the one. I had never been able to communicate with someone better in my life. We had been engaged for 3 years after that. It was a long time being engaged due to money issues for the wedding. We've had a lot of talks about intimacy being a major issue, me being the more intimate type with her liking little to none, as she had no urges. She said that my issue was that I never wanted to see her family or do stuff with her, which I felt was related to the intimacy. But we'd go back and forth on this. I still love her a lot, but I'm finding it extremely hard to be stable, as in doing normal things. She told me she wanted to take a break. Then I said I didn't because I believe breaks was just a nice way of saying break up. But after watching a few Heartslayer episodes, I decided to be okay with the break. After telling her this, she doesn't know if she wants to call it off or take a break. My heart is torn. I don't know how to handle this. I've had to live in this house we bought for 2 weeks alone. And I've been asked to move when the month ends. And no matter what I do, everything makes me think of her. Hanging with friends, doing anything reminds me of her. How do you move on when you feel like you've fucked up the relationship that could have been the one? Anything helps. Thanks, D.
Okay.
All right, engaged for 4 years, just broke up, bought a house together, but now he's being kicked out of it. Poor guy. I don't know. Like, that sucks, yeah. So.
She doesn't know if she wants to break up or have a break.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to have a breakup or a break.
So there's two parts to this email. The question, how do you get over somebody when you feel like you fucked up a really good relationship? But also the unspoken, not question part, which is just the description of kind of what went wrong in their relationship. Her with a lack of intimacy, which I don't know what that means. Sounds like
She's
no
not
sex.
affectionate, no sex.
Doesn't want to touch me.
Yeah.
And him with a different form of a lack of intimacy, which is, I hate your family and I don't want to do anything with you ever. Which circles back to the original lack of intimacy, which he says, because you don't want to
It's like
touch
out of
me.
spite.
Yeah. Sorry, not to laugh. I know
No.
that this person just was dumped by their fiance. It's probably really sad.
Well, it's also kind of crazy that they got engaged after dating for a year,
Yeah.
but then they were still engaged for 3 years. So
Yeah, I feel like that's a common thing.
Yeah.
For a lot of people who just want to be engaged but don't really have a plan
Yeah.
on how to execute
that's fair.
the wedding,
That is fair.
which I don't think is like the best situation to be in.
No.
Personally, I would think I can't get engaged until there's a clear path to this wedding happening.
Yeah, if I'm not stable enough to get married, why would I even get to the okay, we're getting ready to get married stage?
Yeah, like I'll marry you someday, but not now. So I'm not proposing.
I'm
just
reserving you
yet. Yeah,
for marriage.
we're definitely getting married, but not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because who knows? Stuff like this happens, or you're
Exactly.
engaged for 10 years, and
I mean, they bought a house together, but they didn't get married.
yeah, put that money towards the marriage. Kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah,
Putting
but
the house
either
before the
way.
marriage. Well, we're just ripping this guy apart.
I'm sorry.
Poor guy. This wasn't his question.
No,
man.
it wasn't. I'm sorry.
How do you get over the relationship when you feel like you fucked it up and this person was the one for you?
Yeah. That's hard. It's hard to get over a long relationship already, whether
Yeah.
or not it's your fault.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. What's your advice?
So I think that it's pointless to take blame or put blame on somebody else when a relationship ends. Relationships end for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the relationship didn't work out. And that's the only fact that really matters. Whether it was she cheated on me or,
We didn't get along.
Yeah, or we drifted apart, or I
Yeah.
didn't like her family, or her dog bit me and she
Yeah.
refused to do anything about the dog.
Right.
Whatever it is, at the end of the day, it's just, hey, I was with this person. It didn't work out. It's nobody's fault. I'm not mad at them.
Yeah.
Because when you break up with somebody, it's easy to have anger and be upset. But when you finally get over it, you kind of appreciate the relationship for what it was and the things you learned from it. And
Exactly.
you grow and you become a better person. And as time goes on, maybe it takes years, but you look back on your relationships and you realize who you were at the time versus who you are now, and you see that you've changed.
Yeah, you have to treat it as a learning experience or else you'll never grow from it.
Yeah. I've definitely been in relationships. I thought I was going to be with those girls for my entire life. And when we broke up, I was devastated. And I was even angry. Sometimes I was angry at myself. Like, I fucked it up. I could have done better. Sometimes I was angry at them. Like, I can't believe you did this to me. But as time goes on, I've learned to just appreciate those relationships. Like, hey, I really liked being with that person for these reasons. And, I learned about this. I got into this type of music. I discovered my love of the outdoors when I did this with that person. I had all these great experiences and I grew, and I just appreciate the time that we were together.
Exactly.
And I don't really miss those relationships because I have such a great relationship now. But I just appreciate that I've grown as a person, and I kind of am thankful that I had the opportunity to have those relationships.
Right. And frankly, with this emailer, it doesn't sound like it was the perfect relationship from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like you liked one thing, she didn't like it. You didn't like her family. You didn't want to hang out with her, do stuff with her. So how could you have a relationship like that?
You guys weren't equally matched on the intimacy level. You weren't as affectionate with each other as you wanted to be. You weren't evenly matched on like the social level.
Exactly.
Where you didn't want to go out with her friends, or see her family. Those are two major issues.
Yeah. And frankly, it's a little selfish because relationships are very much a give and take thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure if she was giving to you as in doing things that you wanted to do, seeing your family, and you weren't providing the same, then that's incredibly unfair.
Yeah, and good relationships are supposed to be fulfilling. They're supposed to make you really happy. Like, you're supposed to be stoked on them.
Yeah.
So to be in a relationship where there are these major things lacking, you may not be able to see it in the moment, but as time goes on and you get some distance and some perspective, you'll realize like, hey, that wasn't the perfect relationship.
Right.
Maybe she wasn't actually the one. And there's a better person out there for you, somebody who's better suited for the type of person that you are.
Exactly. And somebody that is surrounding themselves with people that you do want to hang out with and family that you do like.
Yeah. So I know that this relationship just recently ended and it was a major relationship in your life. It's natural to be upset and depressed about it and feel like, oh, wow, I had a good thing going and now it's all over. And, you know, breakups are tough.
Yeah.
If you were with this person for 4 years, I would expect at least 1 to 2 years of not being ready to even date another person.
Yeah.
Just focus on being okay with being single. Because after 4 years, you may not even remember what life is like being single.
Yeah.
You know, you're just so programmed in your brain. You're programmed to be with somebody. And everything will remind you of being with somebody because that's the life you've lived for 4 years.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, you're going to discover things that make you happy all on your own, whatever it is.
And I know I've said this in the past, but you have to be okay with being alone and being with yourself because you are never going anywhere.
Yeah.
Other people around you can always go, but you have to be okay with yourself.
Even when you're in like a committed relationship, you need to be okay with yourself. You can't just get your happiness from the fact that you have somebody else in your life.
No, you can't make that person your personality.
Yeah.
You have to be your own person. And I think now is the time where you can kind of grow from that and like find out who you actually are.
Yeah. I've seen this, you know, when people are in a relationship and it almost stagnates their growth as individual humans because they're all wrapped up in what the other person's doing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's mad at her friend and I'm mad at that friend and blah, blah, blah. And we do everything together and
They're two people that are actually one person.
Yeah. And it kind of like a lot of times turns into like jealousy stuff of like, well, I don't want to hang out with you. Wow, you don't want to hang out with me? Well, who am I supposed to hang out with? Like,
yeah.
You need to have your own things going on, like lead your own life, and then you come together and you kind of enrich each other's life.
Exactly.
That's a good, healthy relationship. Right now is a perfect time for you to figure out how to be that individual person. You know, watch some movies that you would never be able to watch with your ex-fiance.
Yeah.
Do the things that she wasn't into. Remember the things that you enjoyed that she didn't enjoy and you were never allowed to participate in because you were a unit. Now you're free to do all those things.
Exactly. Go wild.
Whenever she wanted you to hang out with her family and you're like, I just want to play PlayStation all day. Now you got the time. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Every time we talk about being
So many
single,
video games.
my go-to is always like, now you have time to play video games. Because in my life,
Now I know single Derrick.
yeah, when I have a girlfriend, I still play video games, but it's like, all right, I've been playing for like an hour, 2 hours. This is unfair. I should spend some time with my girlfriend. Single Derrick is like, yo, I got 10 hours and nothing to do.
Let's do this.
Where we dropping, boys?
Holy shit.
When I get depressed after a breakup, my first thought is like, damn, I'm going to miss her so much. I better start a game of Civilization tonight.
Yep.
Because I know I'm not getting any sleep. And I'll just, you know, for whatever reason, I just love playing video games.
Yeah.
When I'm single, I have so much time to play video games.
Exactly.
It always brings me out of my post-breakup depression. Playing video games and watching movies. That's what I do. Maybe you have your own thing that you like to do. Take up surfing or...
Do your favorite thing.
Now you
favorite
have time,
activity.
time to draw or learn how to cook. Whatever it is. But being in a relationship, you have to share your time. Being single, you have so much more time to do things that require solitude.
Right.
There's a lot of really fulfilling things out there that require dedicating the majority of your time to it and having no interruptions. And it's hard to do that when you have a relationship.
Yeah.
And so now you can, and in doing those things, you can discover a lot about yourself. It's a really like self-exploratory, you know, experience engaging in things that require solitude.
Yeah, because you might think that you like one thing and it's like, oh no, my girlfriend liked doing that.
Yeah. Being alone with yourself and finding things that make you happy is a really powerful thing, because there's something like really pure about that, and learning like this is something that just brings me joy in and of itself. It's not tied to a person. It's not tied to a memory or a social thing. I do this for myself, and you learn about yourself that way. And it makes you more confident, and it makes you a happy person, and it makes you more sure of yourself and the things you do, because you're learning about yourself. And yeah, that's a great thing. So that's what I would suggest you do to help get over this long relationship is, you know, find things that bring joy into your life all on their own.
Yeah.
We appreciate the email. Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck. All right, everybody, that's the end of our show today. We want to give a big thank you to all of the callers who called us up and shared their stories with us today. If you want to call us up, we are taking new calls every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. You can call us on bit.ly/Heartslayers. That is our Discord. You can also email us a short and concise email at heartslayers@mega64.com. For updates on this show, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Heartslayers, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Spotify, iTunes. We're on all the major suppliers.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us personally on social media, you can find me on Twitter at Gustavo and on Instagram at Derrick Acosta only.
And I am at Furnace Woods on both.
Yes. Hey, if you are watching at home and you have your own take on any of today's issues, feel free to leave a comment in our YouTube section. We love reading people's takes on situations. Every once in a while, there's some good advice. We're the main source of advice, but every once in a while, you can glean some tips and tricks from the dating game.
It's true.
From the YouTube section. I even love the comments where people tell us we're completely wrong.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
Yeah, these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Oh, let me tell you how it really happens.
Cool. Where's your podcast?
Oh, please, Meg. They don't need a podcast. They could leave it in the comment section of.
Okay.
I appreciate the outsider perspective. I actually read those comments and I go, you know what? I'm going to think about that in the future.
Okay.
I'm going to represent the other side of the coin. So, love us, hate us, agree with us, disagree with us. All comments are appreciated.
It's true.
And if you really like this show, if you really love what we do, if you want to get this show early because you just can't wait, it's like this insatiable urge, then think about going to patreon.com/mega64. For just $1 a month, you get early access to all of the Heartslayers episodes, giving you the competitive edge in the relationship game.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's like 3 cents a day. I know you can spare it.
Yeah.
I think you can swing it. We'll be back in just 1 week, taking more calls, answering more emails. We are always available, always thinking about you guys, but we're only recording this on Mondays.
Yeah.
We never truly leave. You're always in our hearts and mind. So don't think we've gone anywhere, but we'll talk to you again in 7 days. So until then, good luck. Take care of yourselves. Keep slaying those hearts.
See you later.
Live, laugh, love.
Goodbye.
Bye.